I have a nice size collection, and I can honestly say about 95% of all of this came from discounters. But there are some fragrances that I thought were so good that I broke down and I paid full retail price. Well, this video is going to be a little different. This is going to be about 4 fragrances that I thought were so good that I paid the full retail price for. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to go ahead and put the disclaimer out there. I do not have any Louis Vuitton fragrances on this list. And the reason is because, as we all know, you can only get Louis Vuitton fragrances from Louis Vuitton. And with the exception of Louis Vuitton Symphony, they all came from Louis Vuitton. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started with the first fragrance. Was my very first niche purchase, which I purchased back in the early 2000s. We had a guest pastor who came to my church, and this man smelled incredible. I asked him what was he wearing, and he told me that he was wearing this particular fragrance, and the fragrance was a little bit expensive. I went and looked it up, and I saw that the fragrance was $250. So I saved, and when I was able to get that $250, I went out and I bought this fragrance. And that fragrance was from the House of Creed, Silver Mountain Water. The next fragrance I purchased down in Orlando, Florida back in 2022. We were on a family vacation and we decided to go to the mall. Once in the mall, I decided I was going to go to Neiman Marcus and just smell some fragrances. So once I got in Neiman Marcus, they had this big display going. They was really pushing this particular fragrance. So I walked over to the fragrance counter. I got the fragrance and I sprayed it on a tester strip, and it was love at first smell. I immediately bought it right then on the spot. And that fragrance was none other than Creed Millésime Imperial. The next fragrance I experienced while on that same trip at that same mall. I was going around just smelling different fragrances, and I smelled this one that just stuck on my mind. Well, when I got back home off of vacation, I ended up going on Neiman Marcus' website, and I ended up purchasing that fragrance. And that fragrance was none other than from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Baccarat Rouge 540. The next fragrance I smelled at Neiman Marcus in Atlanta. My wife attended an all-staff meeting, and while she was in her meeting, I went to Neiman Marcus to smell some fragrances. Well, once in Neiman Marcus, I had the most helpful sales clerk. She was showing me different fragrances and, letting me try them out. And, she gave me some samples to experience, and I was very grateful. But it is one fragrance that really caught my attention. I almost purchased it right then, but I ended up getting her card. When I got home, this fragrance stayed on my mind, and I broke down and I bought it. And I paid full retail price. And that fragrance was from the house of Guerlain Pêche Mirage. There you have it. 4 fragrances that I thought were so good, I paid retail. If you've had a chance to experience any of those fragrances, tell me about your thoughts. Also, tell me what fragrance that you actually broke down and paid retail price for. Until next time, this is Uncle Spencer helping you smell great, one fragrance at a time. Take care.